on the midweek special this afternoon. Nevertheless, we will do the same as we always do, which is get into the conversations, you and I together. My name is Somi, that's S-O-M-I, short for Apena Somi, welcoming you to Hard Facts this afternoon. I hope the weather is not too hot. I can't even get into it. But yes, let's just look at some of the stories that we've got making the headlines this afternoon, and then we will discuss together. We start with the first story coming out here about what we have come to see as the cost of peace. There is a detailed report put out by Daily Trust showing just how hefty a price tag that we have had to pay just to ensure that we get peace. GovSpend, a civic accountability platform, put out a report revealing a series of payments tied to things like dormitory construction, consultancy services, and statutory tax remittances linked to facilities used for rehabilitation of former insurgents under the Operation Safe Corridor program. We are looking at a de-radicalization drive that, as of the time of this report, totaling 604. I need to get this right. 604,825,700 There we go. I'm a Pueblo right now. I can't even get into it. I'll do the breakdown, and then we'll come back and look at the overall amount. But yes, at the center of the spending to rehabilitate former insurgents under Operation Safe Corridor program, you have amounts such as 47,436,922 naira consultancy contract awarded to Enclave Project and Consultants Limited. They were paid December 27, 2022 for supervision and production of a bill of quantities for the rehabilitation facilities at the Kirikiri Medium Security Custodial Center. In the Northeast, rehabilitation infrastructure expanded further, with El Habi Concept Limited receiving 41,728,606 naira on December 20, 2024 for additional construction works on a dormitory for repentant terrorists in Malam Sidi, Gombe State, which is a key operational site for reintegration infrastructure. On the same transaction cycle, statutory deductions also flowed to the Federal Inland Revenue Service, a 7.5% VAT payment of 11,922,099 naira remitted to FIRS in May of 2024, alongside a 5% withholding tax of about 7,994,732 naira, both linked to the same dormitory project. We're also looking at disbursements from earlier on in March of 2023, where FOSAB received over 300 million as an additional 40% payment for construction works at the Operation Safe Corridor De-radicalization and registration camp. On the same day, government also remitted over 23 million as 7.5% VAT to FIRS, as well as another 15 million plus as 5% withholding tax. Now, this rehabilitation program itself has grown into a major national de-radicalization framework, as recent figures show that the federal government has rehabilitated 744 former insurgents and victims of violent extremism, including 8 foreign nationals from Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Chad, and Niger Republic. So of the 736 Nigerians, the rest of them are from other countries. A breakdown shows Borno State accounting for 597 beneficiaries, followed by Yobe State with 58, Kano with 15, Bauchi with 12, Adamawa with 10, and others spread across several states. Of the total, 733 are Muslims and 11 are Christians. At a graduation ceremony in Gombe, Chief of Defense Staff General Femi Oluede defended the initiative, describing it as part of a long-term strategy to weaken extremist ideology. We already heard that defense at some point. So I'm going to come and try and put a figure to the entire amount again, and I promise you I will get it right, 604,825,797 naira as monies that have gone in to de-radicalizing terrorists in Nigeria. Fresh spending records show that millions of naira have been channeled into rehabilitation of infrastructure and reintegration support for repentant insurgents under the federal government's non-kinetic counter-terrorism strategy. That's our first story this afternoon. A lot to say about that because you're getting this report coming out on the backdrop of earlier disclosures by the National Counterterrorism Center that over 5,000 repentant Boko Haram fighters have been reintegrated into society, with officials insisting that none had returned to insurgency within 6 months of release. But as rehabilitation programs expand and spending deepens, questions continue over the accountability, the monitoring mechanisms, and the long-term cost of Nigeria's peace through reintegration model, which is now visibly measured not only in policy, but in hundreds of millions of naira. Let's take 1 week before we go to story others.
On Info, we give you a great blend of all. Local or foreign, we've got you covered.
Blackouts across Nigeria as national grid collapses.
The UN is warning of the consequences of Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
We are right on
95.1 Nigeria Info.
Your number one station for talk.
Are you ready to become the woman God has called you to be?
and the figures are staggering. The question is, are we having the commensurate results to the monies that have been spent? We are paying a price for peace. Is it monies well spent, or is it money gone down the drain? Let's talk. 0809-597-4869 and on WhatsApp 0809-993-0137. Good afternoon. Okay, I think that got disconnected. Please call back. Hello. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon, Somi.
Welcome, sir.
My name is Salasi.
Welcome, Salasi.
I'm making this call now from Central area.
Okay.
You see why this insurgency can't stop? In fact, Comrade Obedient Elder called today in the morning. He was in kind of analyzing how to deal with these terrorists and how they can use Air Force and our military men to deal with all this. And you can imagine a military chief, a military officer saying that the bandits, they are like prodigal son. I don't know whether the story of prodigal son killed anybody. You can imagine our security men calling bandits, repented bandits, rehabilitating them, spending our hard-earned taxpayer money. Just imagine the amount of money involved in the aspect of rehabilitation of these monsters, of this criminal that they have gone to community and wiped everybody. Now we are talking about 400 and something kidnapped in Borno, some people kidnapped in Kaduna, and still up to now they are still demanding for ransom. This week they killed our gallant men in Kwara. They carted away their gun truck. And you still see government talking of rehabilitation of these people. I always ask the question, for me, what have the government done to the victims? Have the government reached to the family members of those people that has been kidnapped, that has been killed, and say this is the succor the government is bringing to these people? That is why some people, I don't wonder, it will stop. Some people are making black money. Some people are making black money out of this insecurity. So the extent that you see them showing asobi to them, even giving them medal. I don't understand the meaning of that medal given to the repented band, the repented terrorists, bringing them back to society. And they are bringing them to mingle among us and to be given more information. Then you expect this insecurity to stop? I blame Buhari for bringing that initiative of rehabilitating terrorists and bringing them back to society. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Salasi. Good afternoon. Hello? Good afternoon. Okay, maybe call me back. Good afternoon.
Hello?
Yes, welcome.
Good afternoon, sir.
Welcome. Go ahead, please.
My name is CJ. In that program, that radicalization, to me, is just to embezzlement. You understand it? Because to me, in Israel today, have they have this program? In US, have they have this program, repentant Hezbollah or repentant Hamas? Have they have this program to me? See, this concept bring by Brutai and Buhari, Ezufai and Malami is just how to and other people who have mercy and supported the Boko Haram. It's just to embezzle money, for my understanding. Because I don't see the reason. The people they kill, rape their daughter, their mother, kill their unborn child. They are in an ID camp. The Nigerian government never do anything for them. They never think of brought them out of refugee camp. Then you are building a dormitory, building a place to rehabilitate, to forgiveness for those people who caused them that harm. Where has this thing done in any part of this world? But what I'm saying is this: the God's revenge can never allow them to see the peace. That's my take. And the second thing is to me, all those people that are doing that project, go and take all of them. They are the ones that bring this Boko Haram bandit and Fulani herdsmen into this government in 2014 and 2015. You understand? Now they are creating program, calling them on repentance, forgiveness, and what? And also to all the things. To do what? To fulfill the promise they promised them. When they cause all those harm, they will just go free. But God of heaven will surely pay them back.
Okay.
That is my take. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Simi.
Welcome, sir.
My name is Punji. I'm calling here in Atako this afternoon.
Go ahead.
What I'm saying, this thing is not working because what I'm saying, the government is one trying to include more in this thing because you are giving people freedom. People who have killed, who have destroyed community, you are giving them freedom again. That means you want people to go into it. Since you can go into it and kill and come out to be free, that means most people will find the means to go back. You know, we that we are working, so we don't know what we are working for. We will go to work for 30 days and be paying a little penny. And the person that is killing, you will be feeding them with government money. That means the program is not, I think this program is just meant for Boko Haram. It's not meant for the government know what they are doing with these things. They are gaining from this. And we as in Nigeria, we won't take this anymore. Because the time we in Nigeria will take up against this government, that means they will come for us too. I pray that this thing will not escalate, that people will start taking harm against the government, because this thing is very, very unfair. Unfair that we are working truly, we that we are trying to protect this country, it's not fair. It's not fair. How can someone be killing somebody's family after killing him, you not come and give him honesty? How? How? Yes, thank you. I think it is not fair. It's just not fair.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll take one more call and then we will go to the second story. Hello, good afternoon. Okay, good afternoon.
Hello, I'm John Gaba.
Yes, welcome.
I'm calling from Bako, Bonega Council.
Okay.
It is very good and unfortunate what is happening in this country. They have been taking bandits. People have done a lot of hard work in Nigeria. Killing innocent people, killing farmers, killing government workers, and they're spending heavy money. So we have to say that it's very, very unfortunate. You know what other countries are doing? When somebody kills someone, you say that person has repented. I believe that they are taken. I don't know the democracy in Nigeria is operating. I don't know the type of leader I have in this country. I don't know the type of leader I have in the area council. I know the type of leader I have in the state level, in the federal level. Somebody killing our people. We are talking about them. Please and please. The only thing Nigeria is doing at this time is that 2027, we should wait APC out because they are behind this case. Are they not the leader? Anything happen, who are they going to hold responsible? Please, I'm urging Nigeria, 2027, let us vote APC out so that this killing will stop. Thank you and God bless you.
All right. Thank you very much. We would have to move on to the second story now. I do remember seeing security experts actually talking about how this reintegration and rehabilitation program is not unique to Nigeria. He gave other instances where it's done in other parts of the world. Perhaps I'll look for that report and share with you. But yes, in general, his words were that sustainable peace requires a combination of kinetic military operations and non-kinetic rehabilitation strategies. And you know, he was contending that rehabilitation and reintegration are essential components of a comprehensive national security strategy, as it provides pathways for disengagement, reduces the risk of recidivism, and addresses the root cause of extremism that force alone cannot resolve. And again, when you look at some of the data that we're getting concerning what has happened, you are seeing it being defended by top military brass, and at the same time talking about how it is reducing violence and preventing the spread of extremist ideologies. The data that that is made available to us on a daily basis will contend with this report. But even more troubling, I think, is the fact that they say quite authoritatively at that these people that they have rehabilitated do not go back into insurgency activities. And we would have to also, dig deep and say, let's have that data as well. How do you actually monitor? How do you track? These are some of the concerns around this. But even more importantly, just as some listeners have said, the question of the justice gap. you are providing support, reintegration for the insurgents, but not as much is being done for the victims themselves. So it's a bit of an inequality of care, if you will. If we were to also ask the government to provide data, for example, on how many of the victims of these insurgents that they have rehabilitated, that they have reintegrated, well, the word is not rehabilitate, but if they reintegrated back into society, we might be hard-pressed to get that information. So it is indeed quite troubling, and we're hoping that there is some radical thing that is being done to turn the tide, basically. They may have had some good intentions, Operation Safe Corridor, but when you look at it in terms of how much is being spent, vis-a-vis the results that we're seeing, I don't know that we can speak to commensurate results. And so it is indeed a cause of concern. But we will have to take more of your calls afterwards. Let's come back to one of the stories that broke in the news just late yesterday evening, talking about the reshuffling that is going on. And I dare say, when this happened, my mind went back to the conversation that we're having on Monday when we were talking about security and insecurity in the country and some of the things that the government has done. And, reshuffling of the military chiefs came up. And for me, the key question was, to what end? What result did that give? Has it given so far, whether it was the first time or the second time, And this, I think, is the question that we're bringing into this second story. News of Taiwo Oyedele's elevation to Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, broke yesterday, signaling the exit of the now former Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun. And, some analysts will say it's a major shift in this administration's renewed hope agenda. You look at the background of Oyedele and the background of Wale Edun and, have to ask questions. Perhaps we've been complaining that, our economy has been on a downtrend for a while, at least in real terms, while the papers and the economists and the policy papers may be saying something else entirely. In real time, our lived experiences would indicate a downturn or a downtrend. And so, when you hear that there's a reshuffling going on, you want to say perhaps let's not be too quick to be shocked or too quick to, throw in one supposition here or the other. Perhaps it is being done so that we can have better results in terms of where we are as a country, where our economy is concerned. But again, you come back and you look at the background. You have Oyedele's background as former chairman of Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, and then you stack it up against Wale Edun's background. Wale Edun is not new to working with the president. I think as far back as 1999 to 2004, he's worked very closely with the president. So, he's being appointed to the position of Minister of Finance. You look at his pedigree and you say, okay, yeah, he seems to know a thing or two about what he's doing. And so when you hear that this shift has come about, I have to be honest with you. There are some reports making the rounds as to why he was actually sacked. But like I said, I don't want to get into the supposition of it. You hear one or two things around disagreement in policy implementation, some things around capital expenditure and how monies were released. Yeah, some of all of that. But for me, the core thing is if there should be a reshuffling within the president's cabinet, amongst his ministers and all of that, it probably should be because of the fact that we want to see better results. But is that where it's heading? Those are some of the questions that perhaps you can try and answer this afternoon. I really wish Dr. Majid was here. He would have been able to give a little bit more insight into this, because some analysts are also speaking about one of the reasons or some of the possible reasons why you have a Taiwo Oyedele take on the very all-important, very, very, very powerful position of Minister of Finance. And I would just want to be sure that it's not a thing of patronage. I mean, Taiwo Oyedele has done excellently well in his former position, and all of a sudden you're getting him elevated within 1 month twice. First of all, he took over the position of Minister of State, Minister of State for Finance. I think that's it. Replaced Mrs. Doris, who then was reallocated. That's not the word, but my brain is a bit foggy right now. She was sent basically to a different office. I think budget and planning. And then you had Taiwo Oyedele take up her position. It's like, okay, all well, all good. He has the brains, he has the mettle, he has the mind to get in there. So good for him, you know. And then all of a sudden, he's taking over as Minister of Finance as well. I'll just throw out some of the questions that some analysts have asked as well as far as this is concerned. Given Taiwo's background, some people have said that the government's policy, by the virtue of this promotion, it may be showing that the government's priority is shifting from managing the economy more into taxing our way into liquidity. Again, reference is being made to both their backgrounds, and that is why this analysis is coming up. Oyedele spent over 2 decades at PwC and has been the face of the recent tax reform proposals, some of which have been controversial. He's been the architect of the new tax laws as a committee chair. Now that he's minister, there is a question of him now shifting from position of neutral expert, and being shielded by that to more of an active position. And some people are saying, does he have the mettle and the background to be able to, for example, withstand resistance from state governors and the legislature that he previously only had to advise on? That's another thing that has come up. Then another one, more of a concern now. As of tomorrow, the handover is expected to be completed. The SGF statement emphasized that the reason why this is being done is for cohesion and synergy. But one has to ask, does this imply that there was a rift or a lack of alignment between the Ministry of Finance and the President's fiscal vision under the previous leadership? Again, we're looking at why one of the reasons that was given for this reshufflement to happen. That's another concern, but still another question. And then, with Oyedele at the helm, the focus on expanding the tax base is likely to intensify. Will that be enough to get us out of this economic place that we are in? Is a bit of an unsure space, really and truly, if you're looking at it vis-a-vis the paper, the numbers on paper versus the lived realities of the people. So, we're grappling with high cost of living, tax-first mind, like Oyedele now coordinating the economy. What should an average Nigerian be preparing for? Perhaps more aggressive collection, yes, but will that be enough to get us to where we need to go? These are some of the questions that have come up, especially in line with the fact that both their backgrounds were looked at, both their backgrounds were looked into. So yes, in a way, the rapid rise of Oyedele within the cabinet can be seen as a vote of confidence in the work that he did, and that's not a bad thing. They say the result for hard work is more work. But at the same time, we're hoping that this is not a desperate plan B because the macroeconomic indicators under the Edu era weren't hitting the marks fast enough. Is this move ultimately saying we're not doing well enough and we have assessed the performance of this minister and we think it's time for him to go, and we're bringing in somebody that has the pedigree and the ability to deliver more? Or is it more of a sort of political shuffling around the block? Again, I don't want to get into some of the reasons that were touted for Wale Edu being removed. Some news reports have that. You can go and look it up. But for me, the general concern is this going to give us results? Or is this just moving pieces around the chessboard for patronage sake? Let's talk. Good afternoon. Hello?
Hello.
Welcome.
Somi, I'm enjoying your program.
Oh, thank God. Thank you.
My name is Doctor and I'm calling from Lagos.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay. So, when I listen to some of this analysis in Nigeria, I just laugh. But the greatest thing Tinubu has done, or we have done by the end of these 4 years, is this tax thing. That's the greatest achievement. And when we analyze this, and journalists, your work is cut out. I put it as a challenge down to Nigerian folk. We need to know who are the tax consultants. There are about 3 or so. That's the main thing. It's not even all those other things that went into the argument. The major argument for me in this tax thing are who are the tax consultants, because they take home like 1 or 2% of the whole thing. And do you know what that is? To get 1 or 2% of trillions of naira. You see, so this is what was done when this man was governor in Lagos State. This is how the whole Southwest political structure was being able to forge, and you're able to, to make governors in the neighboring states and so on, and then have a grip on Lagos State. It's very important. You understand? So even by the time you exit, maybe the exit in these 4 years or exit in the next 8 years, you know that you have a grip on the federal inland and revenue stuff, and your consultant is there. And these consultants, they would sign for 20 years, 30 years, Are you there, Somi?
I'm here. I'm with you.
These are the issues. Nigerians will just shy away from these issues. And the media has their work cut out. You understand? So let us know who are the consultants. They are not much. 3 or 4. So these are the guys that will sit on the 2%, 3% of the trillions that come in. So these are the issues. So when you know who these guys are, then you know what all the discussion is. So Yedele now has been promoted so his work is cut out. So his work is cut out to make sure the consultants have a smooth landing, and then they're able to consolidate, and make sure these things are there.
Yeah, but that's what I'm trying to understand, Dr. Eno. Just to be clear, he's not just the tax man now, or the man in charge of the fiscal committee. He's now the Minister of Finance. Do you think he has the pedigree to deliver, or do you think he's there to follow through on the aggressive tax policies of this government? Because the Minister of Finance is more than just a tax person.
Some didn't listen to me. The work is simple.
Okay.
Just make sure the consultants have a safe landing. What is there? In Nigeria is not hard. It's not difficult to see what the last guy is struggling to. We have our physical their payment, the budget.
Yes.
So the budget keeps getting extended to the middle of next year, which is very wrong. Which countries do you hear such things? Where you can't close your budget within 12 months. You extend it. So what happens? People are not getting paid. Contractors are not getting paid. And even these contractors are still their people.
All right.
And they're not getting paid and so on. So it affects the whole thing. Money is not circulating. So find out. Let our journalists let us know who are the tax consultants. Those 3-4 companies that those are the guys keeping this thing. The 2-3% is circulating around them. This is what happened.
Okay.
You understand? I don't know if you heard of the one that happened in Lagos State. What was the name of them? The company, I forgot.
I didn't hear, but I'll look it up. Thank you so much, Dr. Eno. Thank you. Okay. All right. I'm going to have to come and probably have a sit down with you and get a little more clarity on it, because if I heard you correctly, you said once Oyedele is able to ensure that the tax consultants are on top of their job, then everything will be okay. Again, is a Ministry of Finance, or is that their core or their sole responsibility? Because for me, it is a question of reshuffling to what end? Are we doing it to get the results? Wale Edun had some challenges. We saw it. I don't know how much support he got to get those things resolved. But at some points, there may have been some back and forth, some disagreement. But at the end of the day, where was he going and where was the president going? Were they not aligned in their decision-making or their agree? I don't know. So it all seems, still very unclear to me with your response. But like I said, perhaps we'll have that conversation at another time. Let's get one quick call very, very quickly before we get the commercial. Hello?
Madam Somi.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
How is your work, ma'am?
It's going. We thank God.
I give the laptop. I greet everybody. This is the relevant good day.
Elder, we can barely hear you. Are you okay? Your voice is low today.
Okay.
This is the you that we know. All right, sir. If you can make it very quick, please.
I do. Okay. In a nutshell, while they are being removed and Oyedele, was appointed from one position to the other, is it that, to me, it's a political compensation? To me, that's my own opinion. Is it that we don't have any other person from southeast, south, north, and other geopolitical zone that can handle that position very well? We see how the economy keeps falling and how things are being done every day. And Nigerians are suffering. We don't even know where we are heading to. Today you hear this price, tomorrow you hear another one, and they are there, taxing us every day. We can't even see the money, and they are owing contractor everywhere. We don't see the money, the 2024, 25, even 26 budget. We don't know how they have been spent it. You should go and bring Tinubu should go and bring the credible people, somebody that can help us to grow this economy. We are suffering.
He has brought Taiwo Idele. Don't you also vote of confidence in him?
It's a political compensation. It's a political compensation from a minister of state to the constituting minister for waiting now. Person not the ground again. We have many people that can deliver.
Okay.
We have them on ground.
All right.
Not be one person from here to here. No, I know. I didn't support that.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Information comes power.
We give you more power with information. 95.1 Nigeria Info.
Let's talk.
talk about the biggest conversations made of trustworthy ideas passionately connected to everyone. Let's talk on 95.1 Abuja.
On your number one talk station.
You get a daily dose of news trends.
Crisis averted in aviation sector after aggrieved unions suspend strike.
Intense conversation.
She's among the ICPC board members. Oh. What has she experienced in life? She is a tougher girl. She is there because she has level.
Sports and news to keep you updated all day and every day.
Join the conversation on your number one talk station.
95.1 Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
Let's talk.
It's all talk and more talk on Nigerians' number one talk station.
This country needs a marshal, needs a sheriff.
In some particular societies, especially in my tradition, a woman is not allowed to inherit land.
Issues that get your attention.
This thing has been a carryover for the time of Jonathan.
Yeah.
And they continue this billions.
Your views against all odds.
My word is that why those households, why are
some of it gone into dormitory construction, some for additional dormitory funding. Then there's the consultancy fee, and there's a lot of dormitory construction going on there. And then also some monies paid as well as VAT. So yes, that was our first story. And in the second story, we looked at the situation of things as it has to do with the current shuffling that the president did. That's the one where Taiwo Yedele was the replacement for Wale Edun, the now ousted Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy. And the question there was, are we going to get results? We hope it's not just some patronage type thing where a popular policy was pushed and then he was rewarded with that. We hope that there's more to it. And you look at the background of Taiwo Yedele, and we have to ask those questions so that we don't continue in this place where we are at. And then we'll get to the final story, but let's hear from you. Again, the phone lines is 0809 597 4869. On WhatsApp, 0809 993 0137. Good afternoon. Hello? Are you there, sir? All right, it's a network thing. Call me back. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Welcome.
My Honorable Somi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, distinguished. How are you?
I'm very well. How about you?
Oh, we're working. We're pushing. Talk to us, sir.
Thank you very much. My name is Mr. Emmanuel Bassi.
Okay.
Yeah, I would like to respond to both headlines. The deployment, or can I call it the reshufflement in the cabinet?
Yes.
Yes.
there is paucity of information from the presidency. So one may not say, oh, yes, I don't think whatever any one of us here said will be authoritative, may be just speculative. If you look at the background of the gentleman involved, Wale Edo seemed to be more rounded. His focus would have been on improvement in production and the services. That is not forthcoming. So the government, the presidency, their attention now is on generating or deepening the revenue generating capacity of government. And the best option for them is Oyedele. Mr. Oyedele may be an intelligent gentleman, but I think he's going to be one-dimensional in his approach to handling that portfolio. I hope they will give him a Minister of State that will complete him. I am not sure it is about maybe rewarding him for handling a particular thing.
Okay.
The focus of government is to improve revenue generation capacity through tax. Definitely, it will be one-dimensional. And rehabilitation of terrorists. Believe me, the government created two problems for us. One is what I would call enabler syndrome. In this area where terrorism is at the top there, is so popular, so common.
Okay.
It means young people will be pushed into this. Since there will be so much money pushed into that area of rehabilitating them. And their community leaders will be pushing them into it. I am worried that position of government is going to encourage youth in these areas to venture into that terrible thing.
All right, sir.
And hoping that there will be rehabilitation for them later.
Okay.
And the other part of it, to be honest with you, they have also created a constructive dilemma.
All right, sir. We need to wrap it up there.
What do I mean here?
Yes, very quickly, please.
I'll end up here.
Okay.
A constructive dilemma. In the South, people who were agitating for better reward for what God has endowed them with. A program like that was done for them.
Amnesty.
And then now, some leaders, traditional leaders in this part of the country say, oh, if there was agitation like that in so place, and this was done, now that this agitation is here, this and this and this should be done.
Okay. All right, then.
Constructive dilemma.
Okay.
It can't take us anywhere.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Somi.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. I remember then, and speaking about a dangerous precedent that was being set when the amnesty program came about. It is pretty much what we're seeing playing out on this level, but maybe in a more advanced form, if we're being honest. But I must agree that a precedent was set with the amnesty program way back then. Different circumstances, different agitations, but at the same time, a dicey way to go at the time. All right. Let's do this very quickly. Good afternoon. Hello. Okay. I believe, Mr. Gideon, I think you're the one trying to call me on WhatsApp. Perhaps use the direct line, because every time I pick your call, I don't hear anything from you. I need to read some messages right after this. Good afternoon.
Yeah, my name is Gideon.
Okay.
Yeah, you see, we are where we are. No leave, no transfer. Rather, we transfer back. Continually transferring back. That is what Nigeria is. I said it was not about 4 or 5 years ago. Oh, no, yes. When governor of Borno State, they are headed, single-handedly headed the rehabilitation or can I call it the radicalization and the rehabilitation of all these killers. I said this. that they should call this man to come and explain this better, that this is a very dangerous idea, and all of them get quiet. How on earth can you hear criminals that will come and kill our children, mother, father, whatever, and somebody will now suggest that they will not only suggest people now release them based on the integration or whatever, and you are telling me that is government, that there is a government in power. I won't believe it. Yeah, that's what ordinary used to say, that anything, ugly things is not ever here in any part of the world. It is here in Nigeria, happening in Nigeria. Native country.
Okay.
I can't believe in nobody. So why will you tell? Okay, why are they arresting all these kidnappers and whatever now? I tell you, it's unhearable.
All right.
On Wale Edu, the man, Wale Edu, what he did is that he seems to want to exonerate himself from the government. You know, he knew that this government is going nowhere, and they are doing nothing. They are not going anywhere.
Okay, sir.
That is exactly what. You know, there was in the course of my told we are running about 3 budgets at the same time. How?
Yeah, but sir, I mean, when you say Wale wanted to exonerate himself, he didn't resign. He was asked to leave. So maybe not so much about exonerating himself, to be honest. So good afternoon, Mike from Abuja. You can see the amount of funds wasted on these criminals with families of their victims suffer in IDP camps. By experience and study, you don't negotiate with a terrorist or a bandit with or without preconditions, not to talk of reintegration. The CARE program by Saudi Arabia is a psychological, educational, and social rehabilitation. It is a religious dialogue, not to reintegrate groups of people who took up arms against the nation. Taiwo Yedele as finance minister is not based on competence, he says. Now stories we go to hear. So Tinubu could not allow more competent Nigerians that won't be a yes sir person to be a finance minister. And Mike is asking that question. So good afternoon. James from area 10. Okay. All right, I see your message. Mazi Ouchman from Lokogoma says, regarding the issue of rehabilitating bandits and Boko Haram terrorists under the current administration of this president and the APC government, I would like to raise some concerns. On what basis are individuals who have committed such heinous acts, killing and slaughtering innocent men, women, and children, being rehabilitated? What exactly does this rehabilitation entail? How can individuals involved in terrorism be reintegrated into society? And what assurances exist that they will not return to violence? Furthermore, who is addressing the pain and loss suffered by the victims and their families? Can any form of rehabilitation restore the lives that were lost or heal the deep emotional and psychological wounds inflicted on loved ones? There are also troubling cases, such as that of John Arum, a student of Plateau State University, who is reportedly still being held captive by these same groups, with ransom demands placed on his life. It raises serious questions about justice and accountability when such individuals may later be pardoned and rehabilitated using public funds. These concerns lead many to question the rationale and moral justification behind such policies. Citizens deserve clarity on how this approach aligns with the government's responsibility to protect lives and ensure justice. Mazi Ouchman, thank you for your message. Valid points indeed. Good afternoon. So each time I hear repentant bandits, terrorists, or Boko Haram, it gets me more in disarray. In other climes apart from Nigeria, please remind me where it has been reported, repentant ISIS, or any other terrorist group rehabilitated, then inculcated into society. For Christ's sake, who punished Nigerians with this set of leaders who just wake up on the wrong sides of their beds and emotionally decide for over 200 million citizens without accountability? I'm seriously pained. After sending innocent lives to the grave, instead of law to take its due course, the government rather turns around and calls them repented. No, it can't be. Tom from Gwarimpa with that message. Okay. I don't know if this is for this afternoon because you started your message with good morning. Yeah, I think it's for a later time. Good afternoon. I vehemently condemn in its entirety the whole idea of so-called non-kinetic approach in dealing with insurgents. The earlier the government stops giving this social ne'er-do-wells a soft landing, the better for us. They are evil and should be treated with such, as simple as that. Government should stop giving them amnesty, period. Moses Uwoha C. from Diko Gurara, local government area in Niger State. Somi, good afternoon. Look at the huge amounts of money being soaked in rehabilitating of terrorists. People that have maimed, killed, and displaced thousands of innocent Nigerians are being reintegrated, given medals. How did we arrive here? Not good from the government, Fitzgerald. And the last message before I take the last story. Dan Litty from Idu says, with this humongous amount spent on terrorists and no kobo spent on the receivers of terrorist acts, that is the victims, now I see why terrorism is allowed to linger for so long. It is a conduit pipe. Simple. Okay. We'll take more of your reactions after this final story. Let's get to it. Now, I know that a number of you may have heard or must have heard calls for the removal of the current INEC chairman. As a matter of fact, the calls intensified when an X or Twitter post accredited to him was discovered. And so many conversations have come up as a result of that. Digital footprints are being traced and manipulated in some quarters, tried to be hidden in some other quarters, and it's all just a huge mess. I did see a report yesterday, someone shared with me, that INEC did their own forensic investigation and then came out to say that the tweet was manipulated and the account did not belong to Joash Amupitan and all of that. And then I'm seeing another report again today. Daily Trust has that said that indeed digital footprints linked INEC chairman to the pro-APCX account. So yes, the claim centers on this account that was previously known as Joash Amupitan, which at one point reacted to a post by former national youth leader of APC, Dio Israel, celebrating an APC victory in an Igbo-dominated community in Lagos State by posting the words, "Victory is sure." The account, following public outcry, was later renamed at Sunday Vibe 00 on April 10, 2026. It was subsequently locked and labeled a parody account. Now, it is not uncommon for Nigerian academics like Josh Amupitan to have their contact details publicly available. So, it's not, the word is not hackers, my God. Some internet forensic people, I don't know what they are called, went ahead and did a thorough investigation, following through and trying to follow the footprints to say, really and truly, this account, how long has it been in existence? What happened to it? The Fact Check Hub, I believe, was the one that was set at some point to deliberately mask numbers and details. And then the forensic investigators went ahead, dug up all the details and everything, and at some point even used AI tools to check and double check. Right? So at the end of the day, the finding was that the account indeed belonged to Amupitan and referenced its username history. However, sometimes some of these AI tools have been known, based on the fact that they work with publicly available data, they have been known to give, details that are not exactly true. Long story short, they tracked and checked and tracked and then found out that indeed this account did belong to him. Now, another concern is, if really and truly did not belong to him, why are you then having the information on the account being changed? Why did the username need to be changed? It's now protected, it's labeled a parody account, all of that, indicating that there is something that they're trying to cover up. I don't know who they is in this instance. But the question that, we need to get into at this particular point in time, there are experts that have looked at this thing. They've looked at the timestamp discrepancies. At some point, INEC used that as their defense to say, there was something about the account that made it manipulated and not actually Joash Amupitan's own. Some experts have come out to counter those claims and all of that. But even the bigger question for me, even if the account did belong to Amupitan before he was INEC chairman, is the past life of somebody who was partisan before, is it something that should disqualify him as an umpire? Some people have said yes. They said the team that vetted him, the Senate committee or whatever that vetted him, that came out to say that he was non-partisan, is that they didn't do their work. Didn't they go back to his digital history to check and track and all of that and actually determine that he was non-partisan? Because now that is what a lot of people are standing on to say. If you supported the ruling party, or were they the ruling party at the time? I think so. If you supported them then, how do we know that you are going to remain unbiased, non-partisan when it comes to this? So some people are saying, look, this is a very, very valid claim, and a forensic report has shown that this account was tied to this man, and so even the attempts that were made to now cover up the fact that the account belonged to him, it should be termed as institutional fraud, and so for that reason alone, he really must go. But some people are saying, leave this man alone. Yes, he had a past life before, but that should not be used to judge him right now, and he should be allowed to have had a past life. And so they're saying, look, all calls to get him out are politically motivated. That's what some people are saying. I'd like to know what side of the divide that you're on. Do you think, because of a tweet that he put out a couple of years ago, that he should be removed? Because if he is competent, or if he's seemingly, or if he has been deemed to be competent, his past life should not make him, and his private opinion in his past life should not make him come under the radar and have people throw around terms like he's been compromised and all of that. So I'd like to hear from you right after this. Let's just take this quick beat. Do you think Joash Amupitan should continue because he's competent, or do you think he should be removed because of the links to his past life? All of that after this.
I am the chef of life,